I never thought my life would unravel over a plate of lasagna. It was supposed to be a normal Sunday dinner. Just me, my wife Lisa, our 2 kids, and her parents. But the moment Lisa walked in with him, I knew something was wrong. Everyone. This is Mark, she said, squeezing his arm like he was some kind of prize. He's been such a support to me lately. I thought it was time you all met him properly. Mark flashed a smile, the kind that made my stomach twist. He was taller than me, dressed in a crisp button-down like he was trying too hard. My 10-year-old daughter, Emily, glanced at me, confused. My father-in-law coughed into his napkin. I forced a laugh. Properly? You've never mentioned him before. Lisa's smile didn't waver. Well, we've been close. And actually, she took a deep breath. Mark's going to be moving in with us for a while. He's between places, and we have the guest room. Silence. Emily dropped her fork. My mother-in-law's eyes darted between me and Lisa like she was watching a car crash. I stared at my wife. Our guest room? You didn't think to ask me? Lisa sighed like I was the unreasonable one. It's just temporary. Don't make a scene. But the scene was already made. Mark sat down like he belonged there, helping himself to garlic bread while my kids watched, wide-eyed. I wanted to throw the table over. Instead, I clenched my fists under it, my wedding band digging into my skin. Because here's the thing. I knew. The late-night work calls, the sudden girls' trips, the way she'd flinch if I touched her phone. I'd ignored the signs, convinced myself I was paranoid, but now? She'd brought him into our home, in front of our kids, and acted like I was the jerk for questioning it. The rest of dinner was a blur. I don't even remember tasting the food. All I could think was, how long has this been going on, and why is she rubbing it in my face? When everyone left, I cornered Lisa in the kitchen. What the hell was that? She crossed her arms. I told you, he needs a place to stay. Bullshit. You're sleeping with him, aren't you? For a second, her mask slipped, then she shrugged. Does it matter? The casualness of it knocked the air out of me. No denial, no guilt, just, does it matter? That's when I realized, this wasn't just an affair. This was a war. I sat in the dark long after everyone else had gone to bed, the silence of the house pressing down on me like a weight. The guest room door was shut, but I could feel his presence like a sickness in the walls. Mark, sleeping under my roof, eating, at my table, smiling at my wife like he had a right to. Lisa had barely looked at me all evening. She moved around the kitchen, laughing at something stupid Mark said, her fingers brushing his arm like it was nothing. Like I wasn't standing right there. Like our marriage hadn't existed for 12 years. I should have known. The signs were there. The late nights at work, the sudden girls' trips that never had any photos, the way she'd flinch if I touched her phone. I had ignored it all, told myself I was being paranoid. But now? Now she had brought him here, into our home, in front of our kids, and expected me to just accept it. I grabbed my phone and opened our messages. The last one from her was from 2 days ago. Don't wait up. Girls' night running late. I scrolled back. So many lies. So many little excuses. I needed proof. Lisa always kept her phone locked, but she was careless with it sometimes. She left it on the counter while she showered, face down like she was hiding something. I picked it up. Password incorrect. My stomach dropped. She had changed it. That told me everything. The next morning, I waited until Mark left for work. His work, the job Lisa had probably helped him get, before cornering her in the kitchen. We need to talk, I said, my voice low. Lisa sighed, stirring her coffee like this was just another annoying errand. About what? About him. She didn't even flinch. What about him? How long? She took a slow sip, then met my eyes. A while. How long? 6 months. The words hit like a punch. 6 months. Half a year of her lying to my face. Half a year of her kissing me goodnight, laughing with me at dinner, all while sneaking off to be with him. I gripped the counter to keep my hands from shaking. Why? Lisa shrugged. Because he makes me happy. And I don't? She didn't answer. Hurt worse than anything. Emily, my 10-year-old, knew something was wrong. She had always been too smart for her age. "Dad?" she asked that night, peeking into my room. "Why is that man here?" I didn't know what to say. How do you explain to a kid that her mother brought another man into the house? That our family wasn't what she thought it was? "Mom's friend is just staying for a little while," I lied. Emily frowned. "But he's here all the time now." My chest tightened. All the time. How often had he been here when I wasn't? How long had this been going on? Right under my nose, I pulled her into a hug. "It's gonna be okay, sweetheart." I didn't know if that was true. I couldn't take it anymore. That night, after Lisa fell asleep, I grabbed her phone. She had left it unlocked this time, charging on the nightstand. I went straight to her messages. There it was. "Mark, miss you already. Can't wait until tonight. Lisa, me too. He'll be asleep by 10. I scrolled further. Photos, hotel receipts, plans to meet up while I was at work. The worst part? She had told him everything. About our fights, about how unhappy she was, about how she was only staying for the kids. I sat there in the dark, my hands shaking, reading words that shattered my entire life. The next morning, I waited until Mark was in the shower before walking into the kitchen where Lisa was making breakfast. "I know everything," I said. She froze. "What?" "I saw your messages, the hotels, the lies." For the first time, she looked scared. "You went through my phone?" "I had to," I snapped. "You were never going to tell me the truth." Lisa's face twisted. "What did you expect? You were never around. You never listened. That's your excuse? That I work too much? That I didn't pay enough attention?" My voice broke. "You could have talked to me. You could have tried." She didn't answer. That's when I knew it was over. I packed a bag that night, not because I was giving up, but because I couldn't stay there. Not with him in my house. Not with her looking at me like I was the one who ruined everything. Emily cried when I told her I was leaving for a few days. "But why, Daddy?" "I just need some space, sweetheart," I said, kissing her forehead. "I'll see you soon." Lisa stood in the doorway, arms crossed, like she was waiting for me to go. Mark was smirking from the couch. I looked at her one last time. Was it worth it? She didn't answer. I walked out. That's where I am now, sitting in a cheap motel, wondering how my life fell apart so fast. Was I perfect? No. But I didn't deserve this. What would you do if your spouse brought their affair, partner into your home? If they lied to your face for months? If they made you feel like you were the problem? This isn't over, not even close. The motel sheets smelled like bleach and stale cigarettes. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my reflection in the dark TV screen, a hollow-eyed stranger I barely recognized. My phone buzzed for the 10th time. Lisa. I swiped it silent. She didn't want to talk. She wanted absolution. "You can't just leave like this," her latest text screamed. "The kids are asking questions." Good. Let them ask. Let her explain why Daddy wasn't coming home. The first move 3 days. That's how long it took for reality to hit her. I'd been quietly meeting with a divorce attorney, poring over bank statements, and, most importantly, recording every interaction. My lawyer's words echoed in my head. If she's brazen enough to move him in, she's brazen enough to try taking everything. Then came the voicemail. "Please." Lisa's voice cracked. "Mark moved out. Just come home so we can talk." I almost laughed. Of course he'd bolted the second things got messy. Affair partners love the thrill, not the fallout. But when I pulled into our driveway that night, I saw his car parked discreetly around the corner. She was still lying. The trap I played along. Let her think I was crumbling. "I miss us," I lied. Over dinner, watching her shoulders relax for the first time in weeks. "Me too," she whispered, reaching for my hand. Her wedding band felt like a mockery. That's when my phone buzzed with a text from my PI. "Got them. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, even a lease agreement. They've been looking at apartments." Lisa frowned at my smirk. "What's funny?" "Nothing," I said, squeezing her fingers. Just thinking how lucky I am. The unmasking awaited until family movie night, when Emily curled against me on the couch, and even Lisa leaned into my side like nothing was wrong. Then I handed her the envelope. "What's this?" she asked, nails tearing at the paper. Our son giggled at the cartoon on TV as her face drained of color. Divorce papers, photographs, a detailed timeline of every lie. You stalked me?" she hissed under her breath. "I protected my family," I corrected, nodding toward the kids. "Unlike you." The TV's glow illuminated her trembling hands. For the first time, the predator looked like prey. The fallout, what happened next, was chaos. Lisa screamed about privacy violations, ironic. Mark showed up demanding to talk like men. I shut the door in his face. Emily started crying when she heard the word divorce, but the knockout punch? When my mother-in-law called, sobbing, "How could you do this to us? To the children?" Lisa's facade crumbled. "Mom, he's twisting everything. The photos don't lie," I interjected loud enough for the phone to hear. "Your daughter moved her boyfriend into our home. The dial tone was her defeat. The aftermath, now, the house is mine. Turns out infidelity matters in our state. The kids are in therapy, but adjusting better than expected. Lisa and Mark, they lasted 3 weeks before their fairy tale imploded. But here's what keeps me up at night. That smug smile of hers when she first brought him home. The way she truly believed I'd just accept it. Let her rewrite our story without consequences. Well, Lisa, checkmate. Would you have done things differently? This isn't just my story, it's a warning. Cheaters follow patterns, they get cocky, they slip up. And when they do, you'd better be ready to burn it all down. The motel air conditioner rattled like a dying animal as I stared at the divorce papers spread across the stained bedspread. My lawyer's words echoed in my head. She's been planning this for months. That apartment lease they signed? Dated back to before she ever brought him home. Lisa hadn't just betrayed me. She'd been setting me up. The discovery, I nearly missed it at first. Buried in the stack of financial documents was a withdrawal slip from our joint savings account. $15,000. 2 days before family dinner night. The memo line simply read, "Investment." My hands shook as I pulled up the security footage from our home cameras, the ones Lisa forgot I'd installed after the burglary last year. There she was, laughing with Mark in our living room while the kids were at school, counting out cash from our safe. The timestamp, the same day as the withdrawal. The confrontation. I waited until the kids were at soccer practice. Lisa jumped when I walked in, quickly closing her laptop. "You look like hell," she said, eyeing my 3-day stubble. "Funny," I said, tossing the bank statement on the counter. "I was about to say the same thing about your morals." Her face went pale. "That money was for—" "Don't," I cut her off. "The cameras caught everything." For the first time in our marriage, Lisa looked genuinely scared. Good. The blackmail mark showed up an hour later, all puffed up like some dime store gangster. "You need to back off, man. This isn't healthy." I laughed so hard I nearly choked. "Healthy? You've been banging my wife in my bed." His smirk made me see red. Technically, it's her bed too. And her house. And her... That's when I played the recording. Their voices filled the room. "Once he's out, we'll sell the place and take the kids to Costa Rica," Lisa's voice purred. "Fuck yeah," Mark chuckled. "His child support payments will keep us living large." The color drained from Mark's face. Lisa looked ready to vomit. The power shift. The next 72 hours were a blur. Monday, my lawyer filed an emergency motion to freeze our assets. Tuesday, Child Protective Services opened an investigation. Turns out introducing your affair partner to minor children looks bad in court. Wednesday, Mark's wife, yes, wife, surprise, showed up at our door demanding to know why her husband's paycheck was garnished for hotel rooms. Lisa's carefully constructed house of cards was collapsing in real time. The revenge. The final blow came from an unexpected place. Facebook. Emily, my sweet, tech-savvy 10-year-old, had screenshot Lisa's secret messages to Mark and sent them to herself. "I knew something was wrong when Mom changed her password," she told me, tears streaming down her face. I just wanted Dad to know the truth. The messages were worse than I imagined. Plans to claim domestic abuse to get full custody, jokes about my pathetic attempts to save our marriage. Even discussions about having me declared unfit so they could take the kids abroad. I held my sobbing daughter as my lawyer forwarded everything to the judge. The aftermath. 6 months later. Lisa lives in a studio apartment. The Costa Rica dream died with her credibility. Mark got fired when his company found out about the embezzlement. Oh yeah, forgot to mention that part. The kids are thriving in therapy and see their mother every other weekend. As for me, I sit on the porch of my house every evening, watching the sunset where Lisa's favorite rose bushes used to be. I tore them out last weekend. Some things need to be uprooted completely to make room for new growth. Would you have done things differently? This isn't just about betrayal. It's about survival. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Then fight like hell. The rain hammered against the windows like it was trying to break in. I sat in the dark living room, staring at the divorce papers on the coffee table, the ones Lisa still hadn't signed. 6 months of legal battles, custody hearings, and sleepless nights had led to this moment. Then my phone buzzed, a text from Lisa. "We need to talk. I'm outside." I hadn't seen her in weeks, not since the judge granted me temporary full custody after the court learned about Mark's criminal record, something Lisa had conveniently ignored. I opened the door. She stood there, drenched, her eyes red and swollen. No makeup, no designer, clothes. Just Lisa, looking more broken than I'd ever seen her. "He left me," she whispered. I didn't say anything. She wiped her nose with the back of her hand. "He took my money. All of it. The savings, the emergency fund. Even the jewelry my mom gave me." I stepped aside and let her in. The truth comes out. She collapsed onto the couch, shaking. I was such an idiot. I stayed standing. "Yeah, you were." She flinched, but didn't argue. For the first time in years, Lisa wasn't fighting. She wasn't lying. She was just broken. "I thought he loved me," she said, her voice cracking. I almost laughed. "You destroyed our family for a guy who saw you as an ATM. She didn't deny it. She just cried. And for a second, just a second, I felt sorry for her. Then I remembered Emily's nightmares. The way my son would flinch when someone raised their voice. The months of gaslighting, the betrayal, the sheer audacity of what she'd done. Pity evaporated. The last stand, I slid the divorce papers toward her. "Sign them." She looked up, her eyes wide. "What?" "You heard me. Sign the papers. Full custody stays with me. You get supervised visits. No more games, no more lies. This ends now." She stared at the documents like they were written in another language. "You're really not going to forgive me?" I leaned in, my voice low. "You brought another man into our home and expected me to smile about it. You lied to our kids. You stole from us. You don't deserve forgiveness." She opened her mouth to argue. Old habits die hard. But then she stopped. And for the first time, she really looked at me. Not as her husband, not as the guy she could manipulate, but as the man she'd lost. Her hands trembled as she picked up the pen. The aftermath. 3 months later, Lisa moved across the state for a fresh start. Translation: no one here would give her the time of day. Mark got arrested for fraud. Karma's a bitch. The kids still ask about their mom sometimes, but they're happier now. Stable. Safe. As for me, I rebuilt. Not the life I had before. That was gone forever. But something stronger. Something real. To everyone watching. If you've been through this, you know. Betrayal doesn't just hurt. It rewrites you. But here's the truth. You survive. You wake up one day and realize the pain isn't as sharp. You laugh again. You breathe again. And eventually, you find someone who makes you wonder why you ever settled for less. Thank you for watching until the end. If this story resonated with you, leave a comment below. Tell me your story. You're not alone. And if you're still in the middle of the storm, keep fighting. Your happy ending is coming. Don't forget to check out my other videos and subscribe for more real, raw stories like this one.